Polyverse.
All of the sound design and much of the music you hear in this show was created with the help of Manipulator, the vocal effects processor and sound design tool made by Polyverse Music. For details on the plugin, visit polyversemusic.com. Welcome to this episode of Manipulated Tales. I am Jane, your guest host. Today's story comes to us from our very own JonJon. If you've ever emailed Polyverse support, you've probably talked to him. In addition to being killer at helping you troubleshoot your technical issues, he is also pretty skilled as a storyteller. Take it away, JonJon.
I grew up in a town called Gilroy, which is known as being the garlic capital of the world. So there's definitely no vampires there. Gilroy is a pretty rural area itself, basically a cow town. And I live kind of on the outskirts, more towards the mountain range that separates Santa Cruz County. The house that I grew up on is actually on a Native American burial ground. A lot of people like to make this reference, and it's totally a cliche, but like the movie Poltergeist, my parents' house is actually on a Native American burial ground. Across the street, you can see this little reserve that tells the history about the people that lived there. You can see little mock-ups of teepees and where they would grind the corn and the stones and stuff. It's pretty cool. I'm not really sure if there's a connection between the Native American land that I lived on and the weird experiences that happened to me while growing up, but definitely since I was a young kid, there's always been weird stuff happening at this house. The earliest thing I can remember was, I was outside just messing around like little kids do. I had a little toy sword. The area surrounding our house is actually a vineyard, and so I was outside smacking the vines with this little toy sword. My mom was inside, and it was just me. I'm an only child, and so I'm outside smacking these vines. All of a sudden, I'm just looking at this vine, and out of nowhere, this blood-curdling scream happens. And it sounds like some lady is being attacked or something, and it sounds like it's coming from the vine. And, I'm a little kid, so I don't really know what's happening. And my mom runs outside because she thinks that something happened and I was screaming. And she's asking me, like, what happened? I heard someone screaming. And I had no idea. I thought it was her screaming, but there's really no explanation. So there had always been these weird experiences, knocking sounds and noises. And it had been something that, my dad experienced and that I experienced and we had experienced together. But, as I was younger, I didn't really understand what was going on. I just thought that there was just some weird stuff happening, and it didn't really register until later the stuff happened to me on my own. So one night, it was really late and I was upstairs playing with these video games, upstairs in this game room that we have. And the layout to the game room is, so there's the main entrance, this door that goes to the main part of the house, but there's this other door that leads down directly to the staircase that goes into the garage. And so it's about 3 a.m. and I'm up there just playing video games, and I start hearing some weird sounds. And, this stuff had always been happening since I've lived there, and I didn't really think anything of it. But I just got this weird feeling, and I paused the video game, and I'm sitting there in silence, and all of a sudden, I look over to the door that leads to the staircase that goes to the garage, and it looks like someone's trying to bang the door down. You hear knocking, and it's banging, and you see the door physically moving, and, my heart just stopped. I thought it sounded like someone was trying to break in. I had to go and see what the sound was. I didn't hear anything after. I opened the door and nothing's there. And I was thinking, could it be an animal or something? So I run down the stairs into the garage and I look around and I don't see anybody. We live in a pretty rural area, very far out of town, and our neighbors, they're very far too. It's a private area, so I really couldn't see how it could have been anyone else, and I'm an only child too. And so I run back upstairs and I run into my parents' room, and my parents are just laying there fast asleep, and I know that it couldn't have been them because my dad has sleep apnea, and when someone has sleep apnea, when they're asleep. They can't fake that. Throughout my time growing up in this house, stuff like this was a common occurrence. I suppose I was comforted by the fact that I never really saw anything physically, or never really saw a physical manifestation of spirit, I guess you could say. But one day, I was walking down the hallway, and on the left side, there's this bathroom, and I saw my dad walk in and close the door and turn the light on, and I didn't really think anything of it. I kept walking down the hallway, and there's actually another bathroom at the far side of the hallway. And as I was walking down, I saw my mom walk into this bathroom. And of course, she shut the door and turned the light on. As I was walking down, I saw a light coming from my parents' bedroom. And then I heard the sound of my dad's electric shaver. So I called out to him.
Dad?
And he said, "What?"
Didn't I just see you?
And it just didn't really make sense to me because I had just saw him go into the other bathroom that was at the beginning of the hallway. I was just so confused. And so I went back into the hallway. Sure enough, both bathroom doors were closed in the hallway and both lights were turned on. I didn't know what to think because I had seen both of the bathroom doors close. And so I went and knocked on the bathroom that I knew my mom was in.
Mom?
And she was just
Is that you?
getting angry because she had no idea why I kept calling out to them, trying to figure out who's in what bathroom. I went and investigated the first bathroom that was at the beginning of the hallway. Sure enough, the door was still closed and the light was on. And I knew that my dad was in the master bathroom in his bedroom and my mom was at the end of the hallway. So who could be in this bathroom? I had to know. I walked up to the door. I put my hand on the door handle. And I opened the door. There was nothing. And the lights were off. Nothing was there. I don't really have a way to explain how the door closed itself and the light turned on. Who did I see? Or what did I see? I don't really have a way to explain it other than that I saw someone go into the bathroom and close the door. Since moving out, nothing really weird happens in my apartment. I don't hear any weird sounds. Nothing strange happens. But my parents text me and say that weird stuff still happens to them. And when I do go home to visit, it's like I picked up right where I left off. Weird stuff just happens.
And so our final episode of Manipulated Tales comes to a close. Thanks, JonJon, for stopping by to share your story. Halloween is upon us. I hope you have a safe but spooky fun time, and I look forward to seeing you back here next year. Bye. Additional music was provided by The Night Shift at iworkthenightshift.com.
Visit polyversemusic.com.